Shalom, shalom, Israel's brothers, but y'all are coming back at you with another cold cut. Like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Right, double honor to the men out there that's pushing this truth and honesty and sincerity, waking up the hopeful elect. Right, the mighty Aquat, the sisters that's enduring in this thing, guiding their households, doing all they can to build up their households and to help build up this nation as well by guiding their house. Shalom, shalom, and the mighty children as well, abiding in their parents' households, doing what's asked of them and building themselves up in the spirit of power. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. There's going to be a cold cut. Is going into learning how to take correction. All right, this is a topic that's considered milk, but also can be considered meat. You know, no matter how mighty you are, no matter what rank or what level, you know, you see yourself to be, how many years you've been in the truth, you should always be reminded on the simple things that is not on knowing how to take correction. Because if you don't know how to take correction, then comes pride. Then comes what? Then comes pride, right? Proud, haughtiness. These are the terms that's associated with, you know, being prideful against the Lord or prideful against your brother, because you don't want to know how to take correction. You got 15, 16 brothers saying the same thing, but no, they don't know you. No, that's wrong. You got multiple witnesses on how your actions have been, but no, I don't want to adhere to that. Brother, you got to know how to take correction, or pride is going to encompass encompass you as a chain. Let me go to Psalm 72. Isn't that what King David said about the wicked? That their pride compasseth them about as a chain, or they covered violence as a chain. Paraphrasing, let me get that actually. Right. This is Psalm 73, and I'm starting at verse 5. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covered them as a garment. So pride will compass you as a chain. Just like I got chains on, and you kind of got it, kind of showing it. Pride is going to compass you as a chain, right? You don't want that to happen. You have to know how to take correction in this truth. You don't want to be like the wicked. Right, I'm going to Proverbs chapter 15 and 5. Whether you, like I said, you're an elder, you consider yourself to be an elder, you've been in this thing for years and years and years, you feel like nobody can tell you nothing, well, you're wrong. Right? It's Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 5. A fool despiseth his father's instruction, but he that regardeth proof is wise. So like he that regardeth proof is prudent. So if you regard reproof, meaning you don't take lightly, you esteem it, it has some value to you. So if you regard reproof, if you regard correction, you're a prudent person, right? You're a prudent person. You're a person that looks well to their going. You're a person that makes wise decisions, because you can be corrected. You can be told otherwise, right? Let me get the book of, let me actually jump down to verse 31. It says, the ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. So guess what? You're a person that surrounds themselves amongst wise people if you love to hear correction, because you're going to be surrounded by wise people. You're not going to be surrounded by fools, because fools not going to really be able to correct you. They're going to say yeah to everything that you do, and they're going to say that's okay. Right, brother? I just lay with this brother's wife. Yeah. That's cool. They're not gonna correct you, but if you abide among the wise, you're gonna regard reproof. What does it say in verse 32? He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul. Meaning you hate yourself. You love sin, because somebody's trying to direct you out of sin, and you're being like an ox. You're being stubborn like a donkey. You hate yourself, man, because you're going to fall into that same condemnation. You're going to fall into that sin that somebody's trying to save you from, right? And it says, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. And ultimately, you want to get understanding. Ultimately, you don't want to lean onto your own understanding, right? That's why the Lord set up different men and women. You have different perspectives. You have people that will give you counsel in certain situations they've been in to save your life, right? Let me go to Proverbs 6 and 23. Right? You can't be a person that doesn't want to be corrected. Right? It's Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. So that's the way of life ultimately, is knowing how to be corrected. I mean, when you came into this truth, you was corrected. The Lord corrected you from your old ways. The Lord told you what you was doing is wrong. Take out all that knowledge, throw it away, be born again, John chapter 3, and I will give you new knowledge. And you was willing to be corrected then, but now you're not willing to be corrected. Now you got it all. Right, let me go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 3. You can't be that person that think they got it all, man. Right, we don't have it all. Right, it's 1 Corinthians chapter 3. And I'm going to start at verse 18. And it says, let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool that he may be wise. So the way you actually become wise, according to the scriptures, is you have to become a fool. You have to acknowledge that whatever you know before this truth is all vanity. It's all vanity. What does E equals MC squared have to do with salvation? What is you knowing, damn, you know all types of damn statistics and, damn trigonometry and, you know all types of chemistry and symbols and signs that the elements off the periodic table. You think you're wise. You think you know something. You got your degree, right? It's in the cursive with the black ink, right? They handed it to you at the graduation day and you earned it. And you still got your cap and gown. It says class of so-and-so and so-and-so. And you think you didn't do anything. You are a fool according to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Right? You are a fool. You got to become a fool to become wise. So ultimately, when you came into this truth, you was corrected. The Lord corrected your ways. Didn't the Lord say be renewed in knowledge? Right, let's go to Colossians chapter 3. How you going to be renewed in knowledge if you ain't going to allow yourself to renew? If you ain't going to allow yourself to be told by anybody that you need to get some of this knowledge. Right, it's Colossians chapter 3 and verse 10. And have put on the new man, which is renewed in knowledge after the image of him that created him. So the Lord said for you to come into this thing, you have to be renewed in knowledge. A lot of people, y'all was renewed in knowledge, but not all the way. Because there's still more knowledge to be renewed in, man. You thought once you understood Deuteronomy 28:68, that was it. Now nobody can tell you nothing. You have to die daily. You got to grow every day. And as you're growing every day, you're going to find things that's good for you. And there's find things that's not good for you. And that's going to be told by the perspective of the people that's observing you, man. I'm going to Proverbs chapter 13, verse 1. You have to know how to be corrected. All right? It's Proverbs chapter 13 and verse number 1. A wise son heareth his father's instruction, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. And you don't want to be a scorner that doesn't hear rebuke. We deal with those scorners on the highways and byways that don't want to be rebuked. They get the word, it sounds good, or God's chosen people, so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans are above all people. Woo, I've always felt like that, yeah, right? Well, there's some things that we got to do. Oh, okay, like what? Well, you can't really be eating such and such and such and such. Oh, really? I can't eat that? Nah, that's weird. Okay, what else? Well, our sisters got to have on a dress. No. God told me, I know God. No, my Christian pastor said, no, I don't want to do that. Nah, I'm going to keep wearing my dress. Thank you. Have a good day. That's a scorner, man. That is a scorner. That is a scorner, because guess what? You don't want to hear rebuke. You don't even want to hear reproof. According to the Bible, and we read in the Bible. See, it's one thing to be corrected. It's one thing to be corrected and man is kind of going off his thoughts. He said, I see this is going on, and then nobody else, there's no witnesses to that. So you may say, well, hold on, brother. I don't think that may be true. Nobody else really said the same thing as you, so I'm a self-examine, but I don't really know about that. But it's a different thing to say, you know what? Let me go to 1 Timothy chapter 6. When somebody has witnesses, they're bringing out the precepts, it's a different thing. You got to really self-examine that spirit, man. You don't want to be a scorner in this thing, right? You do not want to be a scorner. Go to the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6. Actually, 1 Timothy chapter 5. See, this is what I want. Because you have to have witnesses on what you do. And that's what our forefathers came with. They had witnesses, right? This is 1 Timothy 5:19. Against an elder receive not an accusation, but before 2 or 3 witnesses, them that sin rebuke before all, that others may fear. So if you come into a brother in the truth, you ultimately want to have 2 or 3 witnesses that may say they seen the same thing. Not false witnesses, not bearing false witness. That's one of the things the Lord hates. It's Proverbs 6:16. The Lord's not dealing with false witnesses, but witnesses on the account of they kind of observe the same thing and they go into the precepts to show that. That's called true love. Didn't the Lord say I'm going to Leviticus 19? You have to rebuke your neighbor, man. You have to do that. You have to be able to be corrected, and for your brother to carry out this law, you have to be able to be corrected. Right? It's Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. So the Lord said, any wise, you see anything on your neighbor, you got to rebuke that spirit. You have to. And for that brother to be able to rebuke you and not suffer sin upon you, you have to be able to take that rebuke. You have to. If not, your brother's not going to be able to do his job. The Lord, it says in the law, you have to be able to correct your brother, man. Now, if you're a person that's going to correct, now, if you're a person, you want to, you see something on somebody, you see some spirits, right? You have witnesses. You can't be scared to correct somebody either on the flip side. You can't be scared to correct somebody. I'm going to Deuteronomy chapter 1. You can't be scared to correct somebody, right? Well, what if they get mad at me? They're very strong, right? And last time he got mad, he was punching the wall. We don't give a damn if he was punching the wall. Right? He was wrathful. He was throwing the lamp around. You can't be scared to correct somebody, man. Right? What if he raises his voice? Right? It's Deuteronomy 1:17. You shall not respect persons in judgment. But it says you shall not respect persons in judgment, but you shall hear the small as well as the great. You shall not be afraid of the face of man. For the judgment is Yahweh's, and a cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. So you can't be afraid of the face of man. You can't be afraid to judge. Can't be afraid to do these different things, man. If you are, how are you a man of the Lord? You cannot be afraid to correct or judge a man. Because the Lord set us up as judges in the earth. Let me go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 2. Right? 1 Corinthians chapter 2. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse 15. Okay, 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and 15. But he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. Right? So if you spiritual, meaning if you're keeping the laws of the Most High, and you're found blameless in the act that you're correcting or judging somebody else for, then you're able to judge, man. Right? If you're not doing that same iniquity as that person that you're about to correct, you're allowed to judge that person because you are yourself keeping the law. So if you're going to correct somebody, make sure you don't have that mote in your own eye, as it says in Matthew chapter 7. Right? That beam in your eye. Make sure that you're doing it in honesty and sincerity. But you brothers, especially in leadership positions, especially you in a position where you think you got a name, people may know you throughout Israel, you may be famous in Israel, right? You may have some followers on Instagram. People may hit you up for some questions. You think you're that guy, right? Well, newsflash, you are able to get corrected as well, and the Lord can have it come out of the mouth of a donkey. Didn't the Lord do that with Balaam? So let me get this precept in Numbers. Did the Lord correct somebody out of the mouth of a donkey? Right? The Lord did that thing. Right? The Lord corrected somebody out of the mouth of a donkey. Right? And guess what? He had to obey that. Right? It's Numbers chapter 22 And I'm going to start at verse 27. 26. And the angel of the Lord went further and stood in a narrow place where was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. So the Lord put an angel down in between Balaam and his donkey, his ass. So, but Balaam couldn't see it yet, and we're gonna see why, right? And it says, and when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam, and Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the ass with a staff. So he started beating the donkey, like, why you just lay down? Started beating the damn donkey, man. Verse 28, and the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and she said unto Balaam, what have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the ass, because thou hast mocked me, I would there with a sword in my hand, for now would I kill thee. And the ass said unto Balaam, am not I thine ass upon which thou hast ridden ever since I was thine unto this day? Was I ever wont to do so unto thee? He said, nay. Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with the sword drawn in his hand, and he bowed down his head and fell flat on the face. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, wherefore hast thou smitten thine ass these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee, because thy way is perverse before me. And the ass saw me and turned from me these 3 times, unless she had turned from me. Surely now also I have slain thee and saved her alive. See that the donkey, if the donkey never turned away from that angel, Balaam would have been dead. That donkey corrected Balaam, and Balaam couldn't take that correction. So the angel of the Lord had to kind of make an appearance. The Lord can correct you from anything. You just have to be spiritual. You just have to be spiritual. We're going to 2 Samuel 12. Let's get an example of a man in a high position being corrected by somebody that's not in a higher position, by his servant. All right, it's 2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 1. And the Lord said unto Nathan and to David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were 2 men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb, which he had brought and nourished up, and it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat and drink of his own cup, and lay it in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. So yeah, one rich man, he had a poor man. The rich man had a lot of herds and flocks, a lot of animals. The other man had just one lamb, right? That was it. And he took care of this lamb like it was his daughter or son. Really cherished his lamb, right? Verse 4, and there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him. But he took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him. So he didn't take any. This rich man didn't take any of this of his own flock to give it to the traveler. He took the poor man's lamb and gave it to the rich traveler. Now look at that. He had one lamb. He has a many, but he doesn't take of his many. He takes of the one poor man's lamb. All right, verse 5. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die, and he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing and because he had no pity. So King David had a right to be angry. He said no, in the law, he got to restore that thing fourfold. And you stole from him. You can't do that. That's going off, because you already have those lambs. But let's see what Nathan said. Verse 7. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. And I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if it had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. So guess what? King David was corrected by Nathan in a beautiful way. Nathan had to put it into a parable. He didn't want to revile the gods, right, as it says in the law. He put it into a parable and had King David break down the parable and said, well, King David, you are that man. And King David, through the Spirit, was corrected, man. King David didn't buck up against that, right? Right, let me verse 15. And Nathan departed unto his house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick. David therefore besought Yahweh for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. So King David, he didn't cuss out the Most High. He didn't cuss out Nathan. He didn't fire. You're not my prophet no more. He didn't say that, right? He fasted and besought the Most High in humility and sincerity. So even brothers in a higher position can be corrected. I mean, nobody King David, right? Nobody King David that we know of, man. Right? We are all humble servants of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. If a mighty man like this can be corrected, how much more us? Now let's give an example of a man in a higher position like King David that's being corrected but that didn't listen to correction. And we know what happened to this man. Let's go to the book of Judith. Let's give an example. Let's get the flip side of that. All right, this is the book of Judith, chapter 5 and 17. So this is Achor, the Ammonite. He's giving counsel, right? Just to paint the back picture. He's giving counsel to Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians at the time, that was taking down the known world when the Babylonian Empire was coming in, on how to deal with the Israelites, because we had just came back from to our God. Right? We just came back to our God, and he was wondering, why weren't we the only ones that were submitting to him? Why were we the only ones that weren't submitting to him? So you have an Ammonite giving counsel on what to do with our people in the back history. And let's see if Nebuchadnezzar took the counsel. Right? It's Judith chapter 5 and 17. And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. But when they were departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. But now are they returned to their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was very desolate. And he didn't lie. We are in the hill country. We have came back to our God. When we depart from the Most High, we are destroyed in many battles and taken into slavery. When we come back to our God, nobody can touch us. We're untouchable. That's what he was basically saying. You can't fight these people with brute strength. You have to get these people to sin. But let's see if Nebuchadnezzar understood that. Right? Verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them and their God before them, and we become a reproach before all the world. So he said, look, if they on spot, if they goods, if they serving their God, hey, let's go around. We're not touching them, right? Because Alashagi, the king of terrors, he gonna make you a reproach and a laughing stock in the world. But if they sin and there is error in these people, all right, we can fight them. But if that's the only way, if they're sinning them. If there ain't no sin in them, let my Lord now pass by. All right, let's go to chapter 6. And I'm going to start at verse 3. He will send his power and will destroy them from the face of the earth, and their God shall not deliver them. But we, his servants, will destroy them as one man, for they are not able to sustain the power of our horses. And that's pride. Their God, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, is not going to be able to defend them. But our horses is going to destroy them as if they're one man. But what the Lord say about horses? Isn't a horse a vain thing for safety? Let's go to Psalms chapter 33. So that's pride. Because we know the Lord said this. Psalms 33:16. There is no king saved by the multitude of a host. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength. A horse is a vain thing for safety. Neither shall he deliver any by his great strength. So guess what? They thought their horses can save them from the Most High. They thought their horses and what they have can destroy them as one man. That's called pride. They didn't want to be corrected. Nebuchadnezzar, Heliodorus, and all his captains, they didn't want to be corrected. Right? Verse 4, Judith 6 and 4. For with them we will tread them underfoot, and their mountains shall be drunken with the blood, and their fields shall be filled with their dead bodies, and their footsteps shall not be able to stand before us, for they shall utterly perish, saith the king Nebuchadnezzar, Lord of all the earth. For he said, none of my words shall be in vain. He said, none of my words shall be in vain. Guess what? That's going to happen. Right? Verse 5. And thou, Achor, and hireling of Ammon, which has spoken these words in the day of thine iniquity, shall see my face no more from this day until I take vengeance of this nation, that came out of Egypt. So guess what? He said, look, you gonna die, Achior, for giving me that counsel. Even though Achior wasn't lying. That really was the case. But you have men in high positions that didn't want to be corrected. And then later on, when you read in the book of Judith, I ain't going to spoil it for you, but things tend to work out in Israel's favor, if you know what I mean. All right? Let's go to Exodus 18. Let's get another mighty man that knows how to take correction. Let's listen to Moses. Moses is the most meekest and humblest man on the face of the earth. He took care of over 600,000 plus footmen in the wilderness by himself. Even Moses had to receive correction, and the Lord even talked to Moses even face to face. But Moses even received correction from his stepfather. Let's go to Exodus chapter 18. All right, this is Exodus chapter 18. I'm going to start at verse 15. All right, Exodus 18 and 15. And Moses said unto his father-in-law, because the people come unto me to inquire of God, when they have a matter, they come unto me, and I judge between one another, and I do make them know the statutes of God and his law. So Moses is saying, when anybody comes to have a problem, they just come to me. I judge righteously between the laws of the Most High, right? And kind of, break down the law. Verse 17, and Moses' father-in-law said to him, the thing that thou doest is not good. Why is the thing that Moses is doing is not good? Because you're doing that with over 600,000 people. If Moses was taking care of Israel today in 2024, Moses would need like 18 phones. Moses wouldn't even have time to, you taking care of 8, your phone gonna be blowing up with questions after question after question after question after question. You're not gonna be able to take care of his family. Right, he's not going to be able to, do any breakdowns or teach. It's going to be hard for him. So Jethro was like, look, the thing what you're doing is not good, right? Verse 18, thou wilt surely wear away both thou and the people that is with thee, for this thing is too heavy for thee. Thou art not able to perform it thyself alone. Hearken now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, and Yahweh shall be with thee. Be thou for the people to God. Be thou for the people to Godward, that thou mayest bring the causes unto God. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherein they must walk in the work that they must do. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear Yahweh, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s and rulers of 10s. And let them judge the people at all seasons. And it shall be that every great matter they shall bring unto thee, but every small matter they shall judge. So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden with thee. So that's like a company. You got the CEO. The CEO is not taking questions at the register. You're not going to see the McDonald's CEO go into his McDonald's and clock in and take questions at the register. He's not doing that. He has different departments, right? You may have the logistics departments, right? You may have the sales department, the management department. You may have all different departments, but then you have the regional vice president, regional president, right? Regional manager, vice president, regional manager, right? Then you got the head director. Then you got the assistant director. Then you got the director over manufacturing. You have different departments, and you have different men in these departments. And guess what? The questions all get filtered. And if it's a really big question about the company, then it's going to make it to the CEO. All right. That's what Moses' job and role was. But Moses received that correction from Jethro, his stepfather. Right. He received that correction. And guess what? It was better when he had officers of hundreds, tens, right, thousands. It was better for him because all that workload wasn't on Moses. And that was a wise correction. That could have possibly saved Moses' life. Because think about how much stress you're under. They say what stress kills you. Think about how much stress you're under, man. Right? Yeah, you getting gray hair at 27. Right? Your back starts to get hunched over. You don't really work out as much. All you're dealing with is questions throughout the day. Just straight questions and comments, and you got to talk to this person, and that person's dealing with this, and this matters a little bit more than this. You forget to come back to that matter. You running around like a rat race. But if you have men to help you, you have men under you to help you, that's wise counsel. Right? Let me go to the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11 and 12. 1 Kings, chapter 1 and 12. Because what the Lord say about counsel? This 1 Kings chapter 1. And verse number 12. And it says, now therefore come, let me, I pray thee, give thee counsel that thou mayest save thy own life and the life of thy son Solomon. So counsel can save your life. Counsel can save your life. If you get counsel from the right person, they can save your life. Now you don't want to have 1,000 counselors, right? As it tells you in Sirach chapter 37, right? Sirach chapter 6. But you want to have certain people that's designated, that's maybe it's a close friends or brother that you trust, right? But they can give you counsel that can save your life. They can give you correction to save your life, and you can't harden your neck. You go to Proverbs 29. You cannot harden your neck, because that's why the Lord said you hate your own life if you despise counsel, and you despise correction, you despise reproof, because that can save your life. Go to Proverbs chapter 29. Proverbs 29:1, he that being often reproved hardeneth his neck shall suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. Right? People that's often corrected, they start to harden their neck. People that's often told, you're not doing this right, you need to do this right, they start to harden their neck, man. That's what, you got these teenagers, 17, 18 years old, well, you need to do this, you need to do that, and they become rebellious, right? They get that rebellion spirit. You can't be like that. They get that rebellion spirit on them. You can't tell me what to do, Mom. And they slam the door and they lock the door. Right? And then they sneaking out of windows and going to parties at 2 in the morning and end up God knows where across the country. Because they despise that correction. They're often reproved. And you can't be a person that makes an excuse always according to your will. Use a person that gives excuses. Nobody wants to be around a person that always gives excuses. Every time they do something and somebody corrects you for it, you always got a reason why. It's not always a reason why. Stop having a reason why for everything you go on. You always just point the finger at somebody else, and you never point the finger at yourself. It's Sirach 32 and verse 17. A sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will. So a sinful man, he's never going to be reproved. He's always going to find an excuse. Well, this happened because of this. Well, this happened because of that. Well, this happened because of this. Well, I didn't mean it to happen. I didn't know. And they always shrug their shoulders. Well, what you want me to do? Brother, be corrected. Salakia, it won't happen again. You know what? I take that on the chin. That's my fault. But you will see, that's taking responsibility. A lot of people are not built like that in these last days. Why? Because they're too prideful. They up here, man. The ego up here. Babylon have filled their heart with wine. You have to learn how to be corrected, especially as a leader, because you don't want to go astray. You see camp leaders, camp elders, they can't be corrected. Once they're corrected, they make 1,000 videos on that person and slander their name in their congregation. We seen it with the elder. I forget which camp, but they over there eating pork on so-called Yahweh's Day. They over there eating pork on damn Thanksgiving, man, and don't want to be corrected about that. Whole congregation's going off. You the elder, but you can't be corrected about that. You got different brothers and sisters in these, in these different religions and different things trying to debate the servants of the Lord, and they get cut up every single time. That's a form of correction. Cutting you up with the words of the Lord, and you have nothing to gainsay nor resist. But you just don't want to. But you're not going to look at the truth just because it's the truth. I'm just going to find another way to prove you guys wrong. Stop trying to prove us wrong and help prove us right, man. Because the scripture's not going to be defeated. You have a lot of people that cannot be corrected these last days. All right, let me get one more precept. You have to be humble. All right, let me go to Matthew chapter 5. It's Matthew chapter 5. And verse number 5. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. You have to be meek and you have to humble down. If you're not humbling down, right, it's going to be hard to reprove you. Remember, the meek is going to inherit the earth. Not the proud, not the person that thinks they know everything. Not the person that thinks they got 1,000 breakdowns, right? Not the person that think, that they're above other men. that holier than thou spirit, the Lord's not dealing with that. So all praises to Yahweh Shem Yahshua, Lord willing, you took notes, self-examine your spirit, right? When I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me, right? Self-examine and make sure you're not that person that can't take correction or receive that reproof of instruction, for it's the ways of life. Let's give our praise to Yahweh Shem Yahshua, and bid a mighty strong shalom.